So Atlus Japan put out another big survey. This is the annual survey, and they put out an English version of it. I don't remember taking any big survey last year. If this is something that they put out every year, I don't remember doing previous year's ones, except for there was one that came out, a big survey. It was like 50 questions or something like that. It covered merch. It covered like future development on IPs, remakes, remasters, you name it, for all the series. They're more popular series. I remember one came out sometime after the original SMT5 was out, and it had some weird questions on it, I remember. So I'm going to take this one and see what it's like. I'm only going to show stuff that's like relevant, because they'll probably do like basic questions like, oh, how much do you play, how much time do you spend playing games, and like very typical stuff that you would do in a video game survey. So I'll show the stuff that seems like interesting enough in the video. So most of the questions I've gone through so far are very typical video game, asking about how much you play, what consoles you use, that sort of thing. I'm including this part because, like I said, they use this information towards future development. Now, Atlus is associated with RPGs or JRPGs, right? They have made like offshoots of the games that are kind of like, that blend in or cross over into other genres, like you might have Persona fighting. Let me see what they have. Roguelike RPG, turn-based strategy. Yeah, they've kind of... Honestly, Persona, they're trying to, cover a lot of ground, aren't they? I haven't played Persona stuff in a while, and I know that they're milking the shit out of Persona 5 with everything that they can. Lately I've been, for a while, I've been interested in more like the Shin Megami Tensei side of things. And of course, Atlus has some other series that they do. I'm mainly interested in Shin Megami Tensei. What would they make? Rhythm music. So I do, I like fighting game. Make a Shin Megami Tensei fighting game. I'll play it, I didn't mind the Persona ones. Some people are like, this story should... honestly, here's my honest opinion. I was only interested in... I kind of play fighting games here and there, but the only reason I bought Persona 4 Ultimate Arena was for Adachi. I did play through the story stuff, and, I'm not good with the, 2D fighting games as much anymore compared to 3D, but I actually managed okay with the Persona fighting game, and like I said, I really just played that for Adachi. So fighting turn-based simulation, what is I never heard of it referred to. Turn-based simulation RPG. Is that just like a regular definition of turn-based? Alright. That's why usually visual novels, we can do without visual novels. I'm more of an action person. I like to kill things, not read as much. Actually, no, I do read. Thing with me is, I don't like walls of text. So I'm less likely to play something that's more like a visual novel. Like, files, if a game has files, for example, that you find, or, you talk to NPCs and get information that way, or that sort of thing. You're not being dumped a whole bunch of text. That's fine. A whole fucking book. I'm here to play video games. Roguelike RPG. Yeah, I like roguelikes. Turn-based strategy. MOBA. 3D dungeon crawler RPG. Yes. Party. Shin Megami Tensei, the party game. No. I don't know what the fuck they would do. Life simulation. Doesn't Persona count under life simulation? It does have life sim stuff. Maybe real-time strategy, card games. I'm a little bit of a slut for card games. I like Yu-Gi-Oh! I haven't played any. They have real cards that they made for the Megami Tensei series. I haven't gotten them yet, but they have physical game stuff for it. They even have tabletop RPG. MMO, I used to do MMOs. Puzzle, sure. You know what? I'll put Life Sim 2. Open world survival. Open world survival, like a zombie game? There are a lot of zombie games that fall under this genre. Open world, sure, why not? Post-apocalyptic, Shin Megami Tensei, open world, run around with guns. All right, fine. First-person shooter. Now, honestly, like I said, this is for anything that they're making. It's not just SMT and Persona. It's for other stuff too, if they consider making it. Puzzle. You know, I'd like to see more Catherine. Stuff like Catherine would be interesting. Like Catherine was like, it was like a psychological horror puzzle game. I wanted to see stuff like that. First-person shooters. I'm not really big on FPS. I can play some of them. It's not my main interest. JRPG. I like how JRPG is separated from turn-based simulation. I don't know if it's like why it's different. Rhythm music, sure. Give me SMT dancing. They actually asked, the thing is, with the previous survey, not to draw this out, the big survey they took out a long time ago, I just want to point out something weird that I saw in it, but they do have separate sections specifically to for their different, like, series, right? So under Persona less, like, what kind of things would you like to see? What kind of, like, specific genres would you like to see for this series? Like fighting, for example, rhythm games. They asked the same thing for SMT, and I was like, would they even consider? Would people buy an SMT dancing game? The series has really good music. I would. I don't care. I don't care if it's like a side thing that they need to use to fund other projects. I would buy it. I like the music. You know, it's not going to take away from anything that they work on, like, as a main thing. Action RPG. ARPGs. I love ARPGs. Are there? What kind of other games? Demon dating sim. No. Dating sim would fall under visual novel. We don't want to. I don't know. What other thing could they make? Please select all video games. Okay, so this is like their. Oh, interesting. Why would we include? I guess it's just to gauge what your interest is. All right, Catherine, because there's a lot of stuff in here that isn't that I see is not like the Atlus did not make, but Catherine, all video games that you know from the following. I'm familiar. Catherine, Shin Megami Tensei 3, 5. I know about Soul Hackers 2. I did not touch it. Odin Sphere. Yeah, these Dragon's Crown, Odin Sphere, 13 Citadels, this is made by their their smaller studio. Raito, Persona 5. I didn't really touch the dancing games for. It's so funny because they try to have, I think, 4. I don't know about 5, but I know the dancing game for 4 actually tried to have a story. There was some interesting stuff in it, but it's a dancing game. It's a rhythm game. Yeah, the Q2 games. I'm familiar with this. I didn't actually play it, so maybe I shouldn't touch that. Persona 5 Strikers, Golden. I did get I didn't get the remastered version of that, but I'll just check it. Persona 5 Royal remastered. They remastered it? Didn't need to be remastered. Xbox. Persona 4 Golden remaster. I did not touch Tactica Reload. Persona 5 The Phantom X. Oh, yeah, that bootleg Persona, the bootleg version of Persona 5, because that's what it is, with all the different characters. It does have some good character designs, and I just laugh at the censored demon designs. It's whatever. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it. Persona 4, oh yeah, this is the remake of Persona 4. I guess this is getting what you actually have heard about, not what you actually played, because, like, I mean, this isn't even out yet. I guess I'll choose it. Metaphor. Yeah, I know about it. I know a lot about it. I have not played it though. My partner played through it, and I watched him play through some of that. Like a Dragon. Huh. Yeah, I have not played. I've been trying to dip my toes into Yakuza, but not like too much. Like a Dragon, Monster Hunter Wilds I got, because I'm into ARPGs. That was kind of... It wasn't great. Wilds was not great. It's funny because I was just thinking they'll probably ask us on the survey about like, DLC shenanigans or whatever. People don't like that. Honestly, it's something that people don't like about Atlus when it comes to stuff. Re-releases and DLC. To me, it feels like more of a minor issue because I am so used to getting like fucked. Like all the problems, the performance problems, a bunch of other issues when it comes to like Capcom PC ports. Because I'm a fan of Capcom games, and there's so much shit that I've dealt with a long time. A lot of people dealt with when it comes to like Capcom porting stuff to PC. Capcom also does the re-release thing and DLC. Capcom does all of that. Like I've been dealing with that. I'm kind of used to it. I should be used to it. That the Atlus stuff seems so like minor in comparison to like people's complaints about like, the Atlus release strategy that they do with the DLC. It's like it's not exclusive to them. Other people do it. They actually have worse problems with their ports. Way worse. Do you play the Persona 5 The Phantom X game for PC? Oh yeah, this came out to PC. I think it came out to China first, because like the thing I read about Persona 5 Phantom X, correct me if I'm wrong, is that I think for some reason they couldn't have Persona 5 in China, so like it's a bootleg version of Persona 5. That's why it's just weird to me. And it's also like, I don't think it's being completely developed by Atlus. I think it's like another team or some shit like that. And I don't play it currently. I don't play, and it's also a gacha. There's so many elements, like that's another thing too. It's not just a bootleg of Persona 5 where they constantly add content to it. It's also a gacha. Like a lot of elements in it are gacha. I'm sure, just like a lot of gacha games, you can play it without like even buying anything or interact with the gacha elements. But still, it's like it's not something I want to support. Following video is a Persona 4 revival, which is planned for future release. I remember people were like throwing a shit fit over it because they showed like 5 seconds of the video and like, oh god, it looks terrible. Look at this, like, look at the textures and look at the lighting. The typical like thing that Atlus fans do when it comes to when they show like a tidbit of a remake. They barely showed the game. People were shitting a volcano over it or something. I don't know. It's not something that upsets me at all. I just find it funny. Video is a Persona 4 revival. Yeah, I'm interested. Persona 4, I still really like the story. Like, I like the gameplay elements of Persona 5. And I like a lot of the stuff that they brought back that's SMT related back into like Persona with 5. But I guess like story wise I still like Persona 4. I guess there's a certain comfort thing, a certain nostalgia that I have with 4 that I'm pretty forgiving of. So I guess I'm gonna say I definitely will. I don't need to watch the video. I don't know if they'll skip the video at the 16-second mark and proceed to answer the questions. Yeah. Is it actually... Let me see if this is different. Are they going to show, like, a different video? Yeah, so this is... I think this is the same teaser trailer that just showed. So, they just showed a meadow. They showed a shrine. They showed different areas. I think it's, like... Oh, this is 42 seconds. Okay. So, showing the town... and everything during the daytime. So I just, visual stuff. And obviously, this is very early Yeah, they actually... What's amazing about this trailer, I probably mentioned it before when I was streaming the, what was it, like the Summer Games Fest or something? But it's literally, it's like 5 seconds of you running through the, that's it. That's all they showed, and people were like throwing a shit fit over it. It's like, I would rather, I'm gonna wait until I see like, a lot of the game, like what they've done first, because clearly it's early in development. I don't think it's a big deal. Like, yeah, they're just teasing it. It's early on. This has happened to so many games in the past where they'll show like very early development footage just to kind of like tease it or whatever, and then things change later. So I'm not like going like, oh, it looks like shit and everything. No, it's not. It's just, I think people are just, I don't know. I think Persona fans are just extremely entitled sometimes. Holy shit. Okay, I gotta point this out. This is amazing. This is the very first result. It says, where do you usually get information about video games? Online forums, 4chan. I do though. I know rules 1 and 2 don't talk about it, but like, it's so funny because, I mean, when there's leaks about video games, everyone goes to fucking 4chan about it. People are like journos and everything. They get the information from there, whether it's true or not. However, there have been accurate leaks that have been put on those places, and it's been theorized that even devs deliberately will leak stuff on there. It just seems obvious at this point. Yeah, you know what's kind of sad about this? Is that I think social media is so garbage these days when it comes to game discussion that sometimes you have to go to the places you least expect for good video game discussion, you know, unfiltered video game discussion, because like I mean, sometimes I do have to go to like V or something for video game discussion where people actually just want to talk about the video games and nothing else, despite like you have to filter through like the shit, but sometimes I find out news there about video games and everything. That's the state of things at the moment. Social media is just awful for that. Or you know, streamers or content creators, you know, I sometimes find it out. Game information news website, no. Shopping website, I don't. Physical retail store, I barely go to physical stores anymore. Game information, yeah, sometimes. Nintendo, PlayStation, Microsoft, no. Game information magazines, like, what? You know, Game Informer does exist anymore. And that went down the tube. A lot of video game magazines don't exist anymore, so what game information magazines are you referring to? Like, which ones? Speaking of that, there's been some indie game magazines, you know, like smaller groups that have been doing magazines. I actually have like a magazine that has like SMT5 Vengeance from, it was like Play Magazine or something like that. I think they cover like stuff on PlayStation or something, but it's not like a big magazine. I think it's like a smaller group. Email newsletters from game developers, sometimes. Official website, sometimes. YouTube, yes. Video game guides and walkthrough sites, no. Steam, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, yeah. A lot of the information lately, if I'm not going to the basket weaving forums for it, is through video, like content. When people create content, I find out that way. Facebook, Reddit. I don't touch Reddit that much. I do read news on Reddit, but yeah. Twitter's just get kind of worse for that kind of stuff. Like I said, sometimes I'll get news from there. I'm on Blue Sky mainly now because Twitter is like a fucking dumpster fire. But sometimes like a lot of the Japanese accounts are on there, so I still kind of like look on there. to find out news and stuff through other people. This question is for those who answered that they obtain information about games from YouTube. From what kinds of YouTube videos do you obtain game information? I don't watch a lot of live streams. Game streamers, yeah. I'm a yeah. I don't watch streamers that much. I watch a few. Like if you didn't know, I'm a mod for Vine Sauce, so I mean, sometimes I'll find out stuff through him. Obviously not Atlus stuff, you know, he's not really into Atlus stuff. Someday, maybe. But, you know, I'll find out other stuff through, you know, him or people associated with him or, you know, my friends and things like that. Let's see. Videos posted by game streamers. Yeah. Videos posted by game developers. Yeah. Watching game developers' titles. Don't really watch. It depends. If they do like a direct stream or something like that, then probably information announcement videos by game console manufacturers. Yeah. Shorts. Yes, I actually post on the community tab. I forget to check these. I always forget to check the community tab, but I'm gonna say yes. Because sometimes. Please select everything you'd want to see in a trailer, video, or other advertising footage. Now, trailers have always had this problem, even by Japanese devs. They show way too much. Especially of, like, story cutscenes. As a fan of Capcom video games, this has always been a problem. That's why, to a certain point. Now, I don't mind. The thing is, out-of-context stuff does not spoil stuff for me. But when you play through a game, you look back at the trailers, you're like, damn, they show way too much. They show way too much of the game. And you're kind of like, man, I wish they didn't show that at all. I wish they kept it, you know, secret. Let's see, cutscenes using 3D computer graphics. Cutscenes using 2D animation. I guess it depends on the game. Presentations by the developers. Yeah, I do actually like hearing Capcom does this with their games. When they're coming out with like a new game or something, they always do like developer commentary videos. Actually, Atlus did this with SMT5 and Vengeance. When Vengeance was coming out, they did developer commentary, which I really liked. Cutscenes, we can see some. We don't need to see everything. Presentations by the voice actors. Have they done this? It doesn't make, you know, matter to me. Actual gameplay footage, yes. Actually, this is important because actually, this is the most important thing. If you're showing a trailer of a game, actually show the gameplay. Because this is a big problem. Especially during, like, game shows, where they do, like, Summer Game Fest, Game Awards, whatever it is, TGS, where they're showing off a game, it's just cutscenes. It's just stories to cutscenes. They don't show the actual game. And it's like, this isn't a movie show, this is a game show. Show the game. Actual gameplay footage that makes you feel like you're actually playing the game. Yes, this too. Actual gameplay footage that allows you to understand the story. Not really necessary. Little tidbits is fine. You can just, like, you know, play the game if you want to find out the story. Please select everything you want to see in a live stream that introduces a game on the developer's official... Okay, so, I want to mention this. I don't think I did this for Raito. Like, for Raito, the Raito remastered, I just watched some gameplay videos, but, like, it's a game that's already been out. Like, it's just a remaster, so I didn't really need to watch that much on it. You know, knowing about the improvements of what they added was fine enough for me. I didn't really need to watch too much coverage on it. For Vengeance, I remember there was a live stream by the developers where they're playing the game, and I had to, like, you know, they're kind of showing off stuff, and I could only watch up to a certain point, otherwise I would be spoiled. Please select everything you want to see in a live stream that introduces a game. Let's hope they show gameplay. You'd want to see the gameplay, right? Game introduction presented by developers, that's fine. Guest appearance by game streamers? No, we don't need that. Guest appearances by VTubers? No. No. It's not. I say this as someone who does VTubing. That's not a selling point for me. I'm sorry. Keep it to the games. I just don't want, like, for someone like me, throwing celebrities in there, like, I guess, you know, in this day of internet, you know, everyone's on the internet, and so you have internet celebrities, including VTubers. That's not a selling point for me. It just kind of, like, turns me off, I guess. I know that they'll sometimes do this for promoting a game. Well, they'll have, like, Japanese devs do this too. Well, they have, like, these well-known, like, streamers or content creators. They'll invite them on to try out the game. They'll show footage of them playing it and everything, and, you know, sometimes that'll help promote the game. It's not a selling point for me, though. You know, I don't need it. Unveiling of unpublished trailers, promotion video. Interesting. Entertainment content related to the game. Sure. Alright, here comes Persona. We got our Persona questions here. Have you ever played games from the Persona series before? If you have, you know what? I would be surprised if you're taking a survey. I'm sure there are people out there who might only like the stuff made by their smaller studio that do this, like Unicorn Overlord or Dragon's Crown or whatever. There are probably people like that, but I'm like, and there are people who only played SMT and never touched Persona, maybe, but it does feel like at this point, like, at least for a lot of people in the US, Persona came out, I think Persona came out before Nocturne, so a lot of people's introduction to Atlus games was Persona, me included. The first Persona game I played was that's gonna be a lot of people's answer. I actually knew about 3. It's so surreal thinking about 3 because I was working in at the time that 3 released, and I think it was either before or I think it came out before Nocturne. Nocturne feels like it came out before. I don't know. I don't know the order. I do remember coverage. So with Nocturne, there was coverage in the magazine, and they, of course, like highlighted the fact that Dante was in it for the US. And then with Persona 3, poor Persona 3 had a controversy related to when it came out in the US, because they were focusing on the fact that it featured young people pointing guns at their heads, and it was good, you know, emulating suicide, you know, or shooting yourself in the head. So there was a controversy over it, and I was working as like a electronics department manager, I think, or working in the electronics department for a retail store at the time. I remember hearing about that. So I knew about the controversy, but I never got around to picking it up. And I don't think when it came to JRPGs, I think at like after the PS1 generation and a little bit into PS2, I was just kind of like turned off to a lot of JRPGs and more into like survival horror at the time, because the PS2 generation had a lot of survival horror games. So that was my main interest. And eventually I got into Persona 4, but it took like a lot of teeth tugging. What was the most recent Persona game? Jeez. It's been a while. Jeez, I want to say Royal, because I picked up Royal sometime like way after it came out to play it, like to stream it. I still haven't gotten around to Reload. There's some mixed opinions on it, but it's not like I don't think it's a really long game. Have you ever played the Shin Megami Tensei series before? Since I'm from the US, the first one that I would have been introduced to is Nocturne. Yeah, it's interesting. The funny thing is about this is that, you know, if you say yes to things that have not been released in North America, now I know there's probably like if you have access to like, I don't know, Japanese Nintendo online on like the Switch or something, you can play. They port a lot of these games, but even then, the only way you can play these is through emulation. They also have mobile game releases of these too. But yeah, you're kind of like, if you say yes to these, you're kind of acknowledging that the only way you can play them is emulation. But I guess I don't know. Is Atlus gonna actually care about that? Maybe, I don't know. So Nocturne for me, that'd be the first one. Like, oh, this is crazy. Look at the amount of games in the Megami Tensei series. Maniacs. Okay, so this did come out after Persona 3. What was the most recent game from the Shin Megami Tensei series that you played? It would be... Where is the remaster of Raito? Oh yeah, this one here. Will now ask about the Atlus games you have purchased and played. For each of the statements below, please indicate which is closest to your opinions. Okay, I'm still making my way through. I'm been very slow at the moment. Because I've been taking a break from gaming as well, just due to health stuff and a bunch of other things going on. I haven't been gaming quite as much for a little bit. I was playing the remaster Raito, still need to finish it. I already kind of know the story though, because this game's already been out. They did add stuff to it. Let's see, I want to say, I'm just going to answer it based on what I already know of the game. Story was interesting. Yes, it does have an interesting. Mechanics were enjoyable. They're okay. Like, I don't mind the more action-based combat and, you know, trying to, like, get a grasp of it. There's a lot to manage while you're in the combat, and it's all right. Controls are responsive. Yeah, I did think they smoothed out the action-based combat in the remaster. Background music was good. Yeah, it's decent enough. Playtime was adequate. Yeah, it is on the shorter side compared to other, like, you know, SMT-esque games or offshoots. Price was appropriate. I don't even remember how much it cost. I'm gonna say A. When did you become a fan of Atlus games? You can refer to release years of the following major games when answering. Please select the year that you played the game, regardless of the release year. Interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of a later fan. I'm gonna say, even despite knowing about Persona and SMT, I was really hardcore to survival horror that it was really hard to pull me away from it. Like, to get into, especially to start getting into JRPGs. So during the PS2 era, especially, I was into survival horror and ARPGs. And my partner was the one that was big into JRPGs compared to me. So he was the one, and thankfully because of him, we actually ended up picking up a lot of stuff related to Shin Megami Tensei and Persona at the time when they were still affordable. So we do have a lot of those games, and he was the one playing them, and it took me a while to get into like Persona and SFT. I mean, even after playing those games, like say, you know, I played Nocturne or Persona 4 for the first time and liked them, even still, it took me a while for it to, like, you know, consider becoming a fan of those series. Like, it took me a while to actually consider, oh yeah, I want to play all the games. Like, it just took a while for that to really click, and because I was hardcore into other stuff at the time. So it's like, that happens though. You might have like a main interest in you might have a genre of games that you really like and you're really hardcore into, but you might like occasionally play something on the side, but it doesn't really like hook you, you know, until maybe it hooks you later. I want to say the hook for me started when my interest in survival horror games was dwindling, and I was trying to look into something else. And I started looking towards JRPGs. I still like ARPGs, but even then, you know, it just, some of those games only come out every so often. Like, if you like stuff like Souls, especially, those games, you don't get a lot of those games coming out too often. Game release year. The year you became a fan. The year you actually played the game. Well, like, not the game's original release. Okay. Okay, I see what... It's a little confusing. Also, just something I want to point out here. Like I said, even if you play a game, that doesn't mean you're going to become a fan of the game. That doesn't mean you're going to become a fan of a series after playing a game. So, God, I did get into... Was it 2000? Because there was Nocturne too, but I didn't play it when it came out. I want to say it was 2013. Yeah, that's the year that Resident Evil 6 came out, which fucking bombed in my opinion. That's probably what happened. Why I started sliding more towards Atlus stuff. And like From Software and everything, because Resident Evil with Resident Evil 6, it was like, oh, I don't consider myself a fan of Atlus games. I don't remember when I became a fan. Yeah, I don't know if I want to include 2013 because I did play those games and I liked them, but I didn't really like. I was like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like I said, you can like something, but not become like a fan until like later. I'm purchasing a digital version of an Atlus game. Have you ever purchased a digital deluxe of it? Yeah, I fell into that. I get into that trap. Not always. Sometimes I'll purchase stuff later, but it depends on what they offer. For the games you purchased, please tell us which series they were. The only time I did this was when I was purchasing Persona 5 Royal later, like way after it came out. On the PS4, I got the deluxe edition to have all the like costumes and extra shit. Did I do that for... I've done it for a few games for SMT. Please select all the reasons why you purchased, because you guys don't include the additional content in the main game. I like it because I like the reasons. Please select all the reasons why you purchased the digital deluxe edition rather than the standard edition. I like games by Atlus. That's the only justification I need. I wanted it for my collection. Okay, so, well, if it's digital, this makes no sense, okay? The only reason I would use this excuse is if it was physical. If it's a physical, like a collector's edition, then yes, I would purchase it for collection purposes. Not a digital version, though. The digital deluxe edition is more cost-effective for purchasing additional content. Maybe? I don't know. As exclusive items that cannot be obtained in-game. Technically, they can be. If this is like... You can mod those in. I mean, there are ways around that. I don't really like the, like, pre-order exclusive. I always hated that shit. Not a fan of pre-order exclusive items, because what companies will sometimes do is be like, oh, you can only get this item in a limited time if you pre-order. If you pre-order it, you'll get access to them. And then you find out later that they release the same item as, like, DLC content. So you got duped into, like, pre-ordering or are paying for like early access or something. Not a fan of that. It included early access, the ability to play the base game. Yeah, we don't do that. I don't like this thing. And I mean, if you want to pay, it's your money. If you want to... Because this is the thing that game companies are doing lately. And I'm not talking about indie games. Like now, big game companies are putting out early access versions where you pay more, so that you can play the game before everyone else. And of course, like, people who are content creators, I'm pretty sure they're doing this because of content creators, because content creators and streamers, they want to strike when the iron is hot, you know. They want to be able to cover the game before everyone else. Like, if they don't get a review copy, because, like, There are some content creators that will get like review copies and stuff way before anyone else gets access to the game. But you know, aside from that, now they're doing this thing where like, well, yeah, if you didn't get a review copy, well, you can pay a certain amount of money to play the game early before everyone else. I don't like that. Hey, if you want to spend the money, that's fine, but I just don't like it. It just seems kind of predatory, but also I think the people who pay for that shit are also dumb as well. If you're like if you're giving them extra money just because you can't wait to play the game, you want to be able to like get the content out there before everyone else, just, I don't know. It's on you if you fall for that stuff. When large-scale additional content is added for a game you like, how desirable are the following methods of release? Release of DLC, yeah, this is like an issue, isn't it? Re-releases with DLC. Thing is, if people complain... No, I felt like Vengeance was such a different thing. Because this is... You know, if anyone brings up the Vengeance release when it comes to people's issues with Atlus re-releasing stuff, like re-releasing an enhanced edition, they did so much shit to Vengeance that I cannot consider it the same as, I don't know, Persona 5 Royal. Or anything where they re-release a game and they tack on like a little extra story content or DLC stuff, and that's it. Vengeance was a whole other ballgame. So I'm not gonna... If they do something like Vengeance, it's just such... SM25 was a unique case, so I'm not gonna... I wouldn't complain about the Vengeance re-release at all. Although, the only thing here... My issue with DLC, and especially if you're like a physical collector too, like say you want to get the physical copy of a game, you want to have everything. You want to have like a complete, like this is the thing, this is the issue people have with DLC as well, because this is more of a modern day thing when it comes to gaming, is that instead of putting everything, because we used to, you know, back before like the DLC thing, back in like, I don't know, PS1, PS2, did they start DLC at PS3 era? So I want to say like before the PS3 era, whatever console you play, you know, yeah, they did have expansions. Like with PC games, there are expansions, but they're usually like really substantial, right? But, you know, when you buy one game, you would hope that everything is included with it. And that used to be the case with some games where, you know, all the bonus content and everything was just unlockable. Like, you had to play the game and do certain things in order to unlock all this extra content. Now, a lot of that extra content is just, like, packaged away in DLC that you have to pay extra money for. So that's, like the issue that people have. And if you're someone who physically collects games, you want to be able to have that complete package. But if you buy a physical game, but then there's like digital DLC that you have to download, you know, what happens if you can't access the digital DLC anymore? What happens if you can't like get all the extra content for the game that should have been included in the first case? You know, that is an issue. Sorry for the rat. DLC is a divisive issue. Release a DLC. So that's why, like, sometimes I'm like, it's hard, you know, if they release, like, if you're a physical collector and they re-release the game that includes all the DLC, and some people, thankfully, in some cases, that's why some people wait. They're like, oh, well, and it sucks to have to wait too. Because someone might be, oh, well, what if they re-release the game and include all the DLC content? Then I want to wait. I don't want to buy this version and then have to buy the DLC. I'll wait and buy the complete version where they can include everything in a single package. But it sucks to have to do that. So, it really depends on what they do. Release an enhanced version that can provide you a better experience of the base game by adding extra stories, characters. Yeah, it's hard. I like extra content. I want to say, for both of these, I'm in the middle. It really depends. It's not something I fully support, obviously, but, you know, sometimes I fall into the trap because there's some games I just really like and I want them to keep putting out content, you know, but it's not a situation that, you know, is good for everyone. This question is for those who answered that the release of an enhanced version that can provide you a better experience of the base game by adding extra story characters is desirable in some situations. What aspects do you think are necessary for release? Okay. To be always desirable. I want all versions. I can play on a gaming device with better specs. Okay, yeah, like I said, SMT5 Vengeance is a specific case because I was praying for that to be ported off of the Switch. That game needed to be on PC. Anything else, you know, that was much more powerful on than the Switch. I mean, the funny thing is if you emulated it on like a Switch emulator, then you could see what it was actually capable of performance-wise. It's just the actual hardware of the Switch was holding it back. Jeez. Played on a gaming device with better specs. Price is cheaper than the original version. Sure. It's easier than purchasing the original version on large-scale DLC. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing I brought up, didn't I? I want all versions of the game I like. Yeah. Here's the thing. Sometimes I'll fall into this trap because if I like a game enough, I'll keep buying it. You know, I'll just, you know, especially if I want to support the devs. If a dev makes a game I really like, sometimes I will fall into the trap of buying every version that they release for it. So that's on me. It's my money, you know. Plus, like all the things you expect from Atlus titles, and what makes it feel like an Atlus title. It being edgy as fuck. Nah, characters with appealing personalities who are easy to become emotionally vested in. It depends. This is more, I want to say, Persona is usually more, this is more a thing with Persona. It's fine, but it's not really, for me, it's more the gameplay for me. You know, that I'm interested in when I play games. I want to play it for the gameplay. So if the characters themselves aren't perfect, or the story's not perfect, it's not going to break it for me. It's usually the gameplay that matters more. Challenging difficulty. Good music. Fictional world settings that are easy to become emotionally invested in. Sure. World setting with a strong occult feeling. Yes. Good designs for the non-character elements, such as the user interface. This isn't going to break the game for me. There's some people who complain about UI in some of the games. It doesn't matter. As long as I can play the game and understand it, that's fine enough for me. I'm not gonna diss a game over UI. Interesting deep stories. Sure. World setting with an underground subculture. Yeah. These are similar to the big survey that I took way back. A user interface focused on comfort of play and pacing. Not gonna break the. It's not a deal breaker. World setting that feels anarchic. Yeah. Going against common tropes. Yes. World setting featuring modern Japan. That's fine, but I do wish, and I've seen other people mention this too, I wish they would go outside. Like if they want to go in other areas of Japan, that would be great. It's always in Tokyo. Well, okay, with well, they're saying Atlus titles. I'm thinking of a lot of these feel very specific to Shin Megami Tensei though. So for a minute, I kept thinking this is mainly SMT when it's just Atlus games in general. But I do wish they would go outside of Japan for some titles, or even just places outside of Tokyo, because SMT has this problem where it's mainly focused in Tokyo or surrounding areas and not going too far away from it. Strikers actually, Strikers actually had a thing where you were traveling around to different cities, which was cool. I wouldn't mind seeing an SMT game, S game in America too. If that's something they want to even chance tackling, that would be cool though. To see it a US, like, especially if it took place in, like, I don't know if they'll ever have the balls to do this, but do something like SMT1 that takes place during the 90s or during, like, the Satanic Panic in the US. That would be great, but I don't think they would do that. You know, would people like? I've seen people say that they wouldn't mind it, but like, would the fan base overall be okay with like at least one game that did take place in Tokyo or Japan? Good designs for the non-human characters, such as yes, we like good demon designs, good character designs. Yeah, I mean, like I said, for me, since they mentioned demons, now I'm thinking SMT specifically. I like the demons the most. Characters, it just depends on the game. But, I mean, you want to have a good protagonist design, obviously. You know, since you're going to be running around as them. Gameplay experience, themes that you think about even when that... Yes. Yeah. Things that stick with you. Alright. Question 50. If a new game or a sequel came out for the following series, what platform would you... Okay. Well, I mostly play stuff on PC these days, but I probably brought it up before, but the problem with being someone who is a collector or who is previously a physical game collector is moving to PC, you're still tempted to want to double dip and get physical copies. I'd prefer to do that. But yeah, that means spending more money. Yeah, I don't have a PS5. This is the thing with the new console generation is just like I don't want to get a Nintendo Switch. There's no reason for me to get a PS5. I just not sold on the exclusives for these consoles. I was getting tired of the whole exclusivity stuff with consoles. After the PS4 generation, so I moved to PC exclusively now. I still have a PS4 around that I can play games. Are they gonna even release stuff? Are they gonna still release stuff to PS4? I know Japan still does that. Like, they'll... Even when we stopped releasing games in the US for the PS2, they were still releasing games for the PS2. And even things like the DS, 3DS, like, they still release games. Even when we don't. Let's see, question 51. Which of following game genres and mechanics would you be interested in trying out with the world and characters of existing games in the Persona series? Okay, this will be interesting. Revelations Persona. What the following game genres and mechanics? Would they even... Okay, this is funny. I think I mentioned this earlier. Like I said, they had like the rhythm game selection for Shin Megami Tensei. But now, the thing is, I don't know if it was divided up per game. Also, I find it funny that they put Souls-like in there. Would you want to play a Souls-like Persona? I would play... Here's the thing. As a fan of Souls-like games, and a fan of, like, SMT, I feel like, because... And I always say this, too, because, when... the Elden Ring DLC and SMT Vengeance were coming out like kind of close to each other. There are some people who are like, oh well, there's no crossover between Souls fans and SMT. I was like, no, yes there is. There's a crossover. Considering the Souls games, like at their roots, you know, when you go back to Kingsfield had a basis in like wizardry, and if you know about the SMT series or Megami Tensei, you know there was also influence from wizardry. They both go back to dungeon crawlers, so there's a definite crossover. They're also a game series that stick to their roots, or they try to do. They have high difficulty. And funny enough, like with SMT, sometimes it's called the Dark Souls of JRPGs, which is just funny. But, yeah, Souls-like. SMT game. I would probably like that. But yeah, I think before on a previous survey they had, I don't think it was divided up by title. I think they just had, which genre of, what type of Persona games would you like to play, which included all of these. And then they had it for SMT. Now they're dividing it up. But would they actually, are they... Oh man. People are gonna troll with these answers. I know people would like a re-release of these. Let me see what we have here. We have Souls-like. Dating sim romance. Are they gonna go there? What if I choose... What if I choose dating sim for SMT? Can we have like a demon dating sim? I don't know about the early Persona games. I would be fine with just re-releasing it. Action adventure, life simulation RPG. What is simulation RPG? Online multiplayer, Metroidvania. A Persona. I don't know. Muso Warrior Show. We have enough of these. The crowd brawler games. They did it with Strikers. Strikers was apparently really good though, for a Muso type game. Fighting game, sure. Roguelike. Action adventure. Persona 2. I'm gonna choose like the same thing for these. The earlier simulation RPG. What if I chose all of it? Should I troll? Persona 3. It's hard. Persona 3 already has a fighting game, I think. They've already been in fighting games, like the characters and the personas, so you don't really need to do that. Action adventure. I don't know, man. Do Souls. Do Souls like... I'm gonna choose that because I really want to see the fact that they included Souls-like. I mean, because I like playing Souls-like games. I don't know if I want to play a Persona Souls-like game, though. Roguelike. Yeah, I think... You know what? Roguelike games are good, too. So we'll do that for all of them, I think. I don't know what simulation RPG means. Action adventure. Sure, we'll do this too. I also think, I don't know if they'll have like a US video for it, but I believe sometime, I think it was a while after they did the big survey before, one that I remember taking sometime after the original SMT5 came out. I believe they had a Japanese stream for survey results. It's the one that I specifically remember a lady choking out a Jack Frost plush. If anyone knows which stream I'm referring to, but they revealed the survey answers in that. And I don't remember what the answers are like. There's definitely people asking for like, you know, remakes and stuff like that for certain games. Persona 4 Souls like, sure, we'll do dating sim. Can I date Adachi? Can I have like a toxic relationship with Adachi? I want to see. I'm very curious. Life sim. Sure, Persona 4 Muso. Dating sim. I mean, the games already have a small percentage of like a dating thing in it, so they don't need to make a dating sim. I find it funny that they include it. If they include it on Shin Megami Tensei, here's the thing, guys. I really like SMT at the moment. I'm gonna pick all the answers. Give me any SMT game. I don't care if it's Jack Bros again. Put this shit out. Oh, that's right. I gotta do it for all of these. Please select any other types of media adaptations. Wait, did they only ask that? Can I go back? Hold on. They only asked... I can't go back. Was Persona the only thing that they asked for the genre stuff? I hope they asked for, SMT. Please select any other type of media adaptations you'd be interested in for the following series games. Persona does a lot of collab stuff already. They don't need... They have... Persona has everything. SMT, I would like to see, like, it given, like, more the attention that Persona has. Make anime. Make novels. It does have audio dramas. They did make one for Nocturne. Anime movies. I mean, technically, Megami Tensei has some. They're merchandising. Theater plays, yes. Yeah, Persona gets these. Persona gets all of these. Persona gets, like... Persona has had so many, like, live-action plays. I want to see SMT do that shit. Because I think it would be fucking funny. SMT does have a card game, but we can... Live-action TV series. Yeah, this is something they mentioned. That they're looking into a live-action media for their stuff. I don't know if they could pull it off, though. It's not like it hasn't happened before, though, because I believe Devil Summoner, what the fuck? Which one was it? Was it for Soul Hackers or one of the earlier Devil Summoner? It's basically one of the ones that took place in, like, the 80s or 90s. And they had, like, a live-action series. It was the most unhinged shit. I remember, I think Marsh covering it. But yeah, it's not like they haven't done it before. I wouldn't mind seeing it because it's such... Especially with like Shin Megami Tensei and Persona, there's a lot of stuff you can do with the world and even isolated events. Because with the Devil Summoner series, or whatever that live action series was, it's basically like an investigation to, paranormal stuff or demon stuff that was going on. They could make more shows like that. I would watch it. It doesn't have to be this like whole, global thing where you have like a team of young people trying to stop like the apocalypse from happening. It doesn't have to be that. It could be like smaller stuff. Where things gradually build up into something bigger. Or you can have like, isolated demon events. Sure, we'll pick that. Everything. More manga. I want to see live music. They've had live music. They've had concerts for SMT. Collaborations with retail. They've done that. More merch. I want to see better merch. Honestly. Should I leave these blank for Persona? Because Persona doesn't need... it already has all this. But we'll just... Here, I'll just choose all of this. I don't care. Just make more stuff. What's your current status regarding purchase of Nintendo Switch 2? Nope. I'm sorry. The only thing that they've announced... And like, here's the thing. It's a lot of these games, like especially third-party games... come out the PC, there's no reason for me to get a Nintendo Switch 2. And if I want to play things portably in a mobile form, I have a Steam Deck. So anything I have on PC, I can mostly play on the Steam Deck. A lot of Atlus games aren't performance intensive, so they're fine to be played on the Steam Deck. Nintendo Switch 2 has nothing going for it, for my interest. And the only thing that they've announced that's coming to a Switch, I think that's exclusive to a Switch, is Tomodachi Life 2. And it's coming out for the first Switch, so I don't need to get a Switch 2. I've already purchased... Let's see. I have no plans to purchase one. Yeah, if first-party exclusives... Because I think Metroid Prime 4... I don't know when they're going to announce more stuff with that, is also coming to Switch 1, so... I don't need to get a Switch 2. Please provide any requests or comments you have for Atlus. I wish I could go back because the genre thing, that they had for Persona specifically, I didn't see that for SMT. So, I wonder if I can go back. I can't go back on it. I might be able to do it on another browser. I'll see, because when I was selecting the like game genre stuff for Persona, I don't know if I blinded the stuff for SMT or any of the other games, because if it was just for Persona, that's disappointing. I want to be able to select stuff for SMT as well. More Shin Megami Tensei. Anything? Just make more Shin Megami Tensei stuff, please. Please. Okay, so I had to open this in a different browser in order to go through the survey again. I had to go through 50 questions of the survey to get through this. So this question here is the one that I wanted to go back on because I noticed they didn't have any other series that Atlus worked on. Like, there's no Shin Megami Tensei or Vanillaware or anything like that. It's only Persona, which is kind of disappointing because I wanted to answer questions. I wanted to choose Souls-like for Shin Megami Tensei, and I cannot because they're only asking this for Persona. Come on, Atlus. Allow us to have like different kinds of SMT games as well, not just Persona. But yeah, that's it for the survey. So we'll see if they have like a like I said, they might have a Japanese live stream to announce survey results like way later. But we'll see what happens. This is supposed to go towards like future development on Atlus games, so we'll see what they do.